Hey guys, we're talking about the Vivo V17 today. It's a mid-ranger from Vivo that comes with a 48 megapixel quad camera and a Snapdragon 675 chipset, 8GB RAM and 128GB storage. The spec sheet certainly sounds impressive, but is it any good? We conducted a bunch of tests to gauge how well the Vivo V17 performed, and here's our review. Let's start with how the Vivo V17 performs. The Snapdragon 675 paired with 8GB of RAM does give good competition to the 7 series Qualcomm processors, as you can see from the benchmark results below. On Antutu, the V17 scored 227,263 points, while on Geekbench single-core and multi-core CPU benchmarks, it scored 511 and 1642 points respectively. And on 3D Mark Slingshot, the V17 scored 1919 points. The CPU benchmark results, which is Antutu and Geekbench CPU, pegged the Vivo V17 to be better than the Samsung Galaxy A50s available at a similar price. The Vivo V17 also proved to be better than the Redmi K20 on Antutu, but failed to beat the Realme X2 that came a few weeks later in any of the tests. The benchmark results pegged the Vivo V17 to be better in handling tasks that involve the CPU, while the GPU is the weaker link. Having said that, the V17 handles most of my usual tasks pretty smoothly. That basically involves shooting photos, reading articles, browsing social media, and more. However, heavier tasks like editing a raw photo will take some time. Now let's move on to gaming now. The Snapdragon 675 is made primarily to offer mobile gamers a better experience. The phone comes with a dedicated game center where you can track gaming stats for each game you play. It also shows the CPU and GPU load and how hot the phone is running. But what's missing are the 4D vibrations and Vivo's training center for games that the company offers in the other smartphones that it makes. Considering the special tie-up that Vivo has with Tencent, the phone gives you one of the best PUBG Mobile experience. Other games also run well enough, but not as good as PUBG Mobile on this one. Asphalt 9 delivered 25 frames per second at 71% stability, while Call of Duty Mobile clocked in 36 frames per second at 73% stability. But PUBG Mobile ran at an impressive 30 frames per second at 100% stability. So if you're heavily into the popular Battle Royale game, the Vivo V17 won't leave you disappointed at all. Other games, however, do not get the best experience. Phones like the Realme X2 and the Redmi K20 are far better in offering an all-round experience. Now let's move on to the software now. The competitive hardware inside the Vivo V17 is complemented by Vivo's own FunTouch OS based on Android 9. The software now looks dated and keeps the user from getting a truly premium experience. For one, it looks like a cheap rip-off of Apple's iOS, that too an older version. Instead of the usual swipe down from the notification panel, you have to swipe up from the bottom to access quick settings like Wi-Fi, auto brightness, and more. That's exactly how it used to be on iPhones till the iPhone X introduced gestures. Then there are the giant icon tiles, a complicated keyboard, and a bunch of preloaded apps that together offer a subpar software experience. Now, the Vivo V17 packs a 4500 mAh battery that fast charges with an 18-watt charging brick that comes out of the box. The phone easily lasts a day provided you stick to just the usual tasks. Recording videos and shooting photos during a vacation will drain the battery much faster. We played PUBG Mobile and streamed The Big Bang Theory on Netflix for 15 minutes, and the battery drop was around 4% in both cases. Now that's a conservative number, as we have seen other smartphones discharge much faster. This conservative drain, I felt, was primarily because of the aggressive resource management Vivo employs. Apps in the background are put to sleep soon after you're done using it, to the point that it sometimes becomes detrimental. For instance, the battery logging app that we run in the background kept stopping after just 15 minutes of recording. This aggressive resource management is even more pronounced while gaming. Launching a game via the game center will kill all background apps to free up resources, which is disappointing considering the device comes with plenty of RAM to keep at least some apps running in the background. Now let's move on to the camera. The Vivo V17 rocks a quad camera setup at the back. That includes a 48 megapixel primary sensor, which I presume is from Samsung, an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, another 2 megapixel macro lens, and another 2 megapixel depth sensor for portraits. The multi-camera setup does offer a lot of versatility in the way you shoot, but it isn't anything new. 2019 saw quite a few smartphones with multi-camera setups that offer similar capabilities. How well does the camera setup on the Vivo V17 work? Let's start with a few samples. The Vivo V17's camera seemed to be tuned to capture blue skies and green foliage better than others. The 48MP camera captured these two elements with good clarity, detail, and slightly higher saturation. The ultra-wide lens does offer a wider field of view, but compromises on the details. For the best results, it's better to shoot at the default 12 megapixel mode. Indoors, the camera managed to work with a strong backlight, bringing out good details in the shadows. Now, close-ups from the macro lens came out muddied with little details. However, you can use the primary 48MP camera to take sharp macro shots like this one. The Vivo V17 also comes with a dedicated night mode to take photos in low light. The resulting images gets the colors, brightness, and the rest on point, but details, sharpness, and dynamic range is what is missing. Portraits and selfies are good enough, with the camera capturing all the details with good clarity, but selfies have that extra AI touch that softens facial details. The portrait mode is actually pretty good with consistent background blurring and accurate subject separation. Moving on to the display and design, the Vivo V17 rocks a bezel-less display achieved by using a punch-hole camera. This was one design trend that was used sparingly, and as a result, the Vivo V17 looks fresh off the press. The punch-hole camera is tiny and almost gets hidden while playing a game or watching a movie. Even the bezels around the display are at their thinnest, especially at the bottom, which Vivo achieved using the chip-on-flex technology. The rear panel sports a metallic finish and houses a square camera module that stays flush to the body. But knock your knuckles against the body and you will quickly realize it's plastic. The build quality is where Vivo has cut corners. There is also no protective glass on top of the display or on the back for that matter. During my time of use, the phone got scratched easily from the back being in my pocket. Thankfully, Vivo bundles a hard case with the phone. The 6.44-inch display on the phone was quite impressive on the other hand. It's a Super AMOLED panel with Full HD Plus resolution and a 20:9 aspect ratio. The panel looks bright and vivid, if not a little oversaturated. Vivo also claimed 100% DCI-P3 coverage, but it's unlikely you'll be able to make full use of the color space since there's no HDR certification. During our test, the display clocked 386 lux in maximum brightness out in the sun, with auto brightness turned on, while in the dark, the minimum brightness went down all the way to 8 lux. After a round of testing, the Vivo V17 came out as a well-rounded smartphone that ticks most of the boxes, offering decently powerful hardware and good cameras. This is no flagship, but Vivo is offering the latest design with a punch-hole display, good gaming performance, and a day-long battery life. However, the software needs a lot more work, and Vivo still has to iron out the aggressive RAM management that keeps killing apps in the background. Overall, the Vivo V17 doesn't bring anything groundbreaking, but it does most of what it promises with good intent. That's all that we had to tell you about the Vivo V17. I'll catch you in another video. Till then, stay tuned to digit.in to get the latest updates from the tech world.